As we move towards the end of the book of Joshua, at the end of Joshua chapter 21, in verses 43 to 45, there's kind of a summary statement of what has happened so far in the book. And in verse 45, it says, "Not one of all the good promises that the Lord had made to the house of Israel had failed. All came to pass." In some ways, that almost seems too good to be true, right? That everything that the Lord had promised had come to pass. But if you think about it, how important is it in life that we believe God is trustworthy and will keep God's word and keep God's promises? How important is it to you that another person keeps his or her word or honors a promise that he or she made to you? How important is it for you in your circles of relationship for people to know that if you promise someone something, if you say that you will do something, you will do it? It's really an important aspect of healthy relationships, isn't it? To be people who keep our promises. Bud Nugent and I were talking a little while ago about remembering going to a great men's gathering in Washington, D.C. that was part of the Promise Keepers movement. And at that time, that was a movement, a men's ministry movement, trying to encourage men to be men of their word and to be men who keep our promises to our spouses, to our families, in our churches, and where we work, and in our communities. The idea that God keeps and honors his promises is very comforting to me, because sometimes the world in which we live, it can be challenging to be a person of faith, to believe that what God says will truly come to pass. But part of the witness of the book of Joshua, with this transitory people, with no land or home to call their own, they truly were migrants, trying to find a place to settle, having to fight and battle to scrape out a place where they could survive. The idea that God was faithful and could be trusted was part of what sustained them through their many long years in the wilderness. How are you doing at keeping and honoring your promises and your word? I pray that you will be a person that other people can depend on, just as we can depend on God. And at the same time, don't beat yourself up too much if you forget something every now and then. All of us get enough emails, text messages, phone messages that we can sometimes forget or miss something. So be gracious if someone you feel is forgetting you, and just send them a gentle reminder. I know I personally find that very helpful. Go ahead this day and be a promise keeper.